Welcome to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about homesteading stuff and life stuff and everything in between. Join me, Amy Dingman, as we explore big questions on a little farm. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast. Today is Tuesday, July 9th. This is episode 286, I believe, if my math is correct. I'm glad that you are here with me today. This is the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about how to live a good life, regardless of where you call home. I am Amy Dingman. I live here in central Minnesota on a 5-acre homestead that's on a dead-end dirt road that goes through a river. It's a magical place. It's a magical place. Here I am with all the animals and all the fruit and all the vegetables in a really big yard that takes a long time to mow. And yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you about my place today. What are we going to be talking about today? Today, we are talking about being intentional with being social. And I don't want you introverts to get scared off, okay? The topic of today is actually comes from the July challenge for my Get By Guys and Gals group that I have on Facebook. This is a challenge that we are taking on this month. We do a different challenge every month. So my thoughts and everything I'm talking about today comes from the thoughts I was coming up with, or the thoughts I was having when I was putting together this challenge. So we will get to that. It's a really big topic. It's got a lot of kind of trails off of it. So I'm going to kind of just give you some things to think about today that I think are kind of important, and you can do with that information what you want. But before we get to the main topic, what's been happening on the lifestead? Well, we got lots of stuff starting to grow. I went out to the garden. I saw cucumbers. Actual cucumbers on my cucumber plants. It was almost like a zucchini situation where they weren't there and then they were there and then they were big. And I was like, how did this happen? It's crazy. We've got little baby pumpkins growing. We've got some little baby tomatoes growing. Our blueberries are coming ripe. The strawberries are still going nuts. I did dig up some baby potatoes to have for dinner the other night. It was amazing. We got all this stuff happening on our farm, and it's such a magical, magical time. So much work, but such a magical time. There is nothing better than the food you grew. It just tastes better because it's got that little bit of extra love in it. I think that's what makes it better. All that extra hard work and love that you put into it. What else is happening on the homestead? Well, if you've been around here for a while, you might have heard me a few years back talk about a stray that would occasionally show up here. We named her Nessie because when she first showed up, she showed up in a blizzard, and it was really, really cold. And we saw her, and she was in our barn looking for something to eat. We'd never seen her before, but it almost looked like her ears had been frostbitten. And she only had half a tail. And we're like, oh my gosh, what a rough life this cat has had. She's been out in the cold. She frostbit her ears. We gave her something to eat. She hung out for a while, and then she disappeared. Before she left, we realized the frostbitten ears were really very symmetrical. It didn't really look like frostbite. And so a couple family members actually said, you know what, there's this cat that doesn't have really big ears. It's called a Scottish fold. Maybe that's what kind of cat she is. So I don't know if that's what kind of cat she is, but we decided we would name her Nessie because the boys decided she needed a Scottish name if she was a Scottish fold. So we decided she was like the Loch Ness Monster and named her Nessie. And she has showed up over the years every so often, but doesn't stay very long, right? Well, we haven't seen her for a couple years at least. And every time I go a while without seeing her, I just assume that something has happened to her because nature is rough and life as a stray is rough, and she never stays around for very long. So looked out the window, I believe it was actually the 4th of July, and there's Nessie. There's Nessie right outside our kitchen window, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Nessie is back. This is so exciting. How wonderful. We went out, gave her pets, asked her if she wanted some food. She went right to the barn. We gave her some food. It was wonderful. She's very friendly, a very wonderful cat. She was super skinny. And I just thought, you're just such the nicest cat. I wish you would stay around. So anyway, whatever, figured she was going to have some food and go about her way like she has the last few times that she has shown up at our house. Well, my friends, Nessie brought a surprise with her. And that surprise is 7 kittens. And these are not little kittens. These are kittens that I estimate to be about 6 to 8 weeks old. They are wild, crazy kittens. I have no idea where they came from. I have no idea where they've been living. For all I know, they've been in one of our buildings this entire time, and we just didn't know they were there, and Nessie has just been hiding them. I don't know. But yay, Nessie's here. The next day I look out, I'm about to go out to do chores to the barn, and I look out the window, and there is a trail of several baby kittens following Nessie into the barn. I don't even know what to say about this. My husband said, I told you she had kittens with her. I told you she had kittens somewhere. What am I going to do? Now I got 7 more kittens in my barn. Maybe I just put it out into the universe that I needed help with all the pests that are in our barn, and Nessie brought help. I don't know. All right, we are going to head over to the main topic because we got a big old topic to tackle today. So let's head over there, and I'll give you some thoughts that I have about being intentional about being social. So generally when I come up with a challenge for my Get By Guys and Gals group, it almost always has something to do with something I am dealing with, something I am struggling with, something that I want to spend a whole month focusing on, and I just take a bunch of people along with me for the ride. So that's the joy of being in the Get By Guys and Gals group. And so this month we are tackling being intentional about being social. Okay, so introverts, don't get scared. I am not going to try and make you a big social person. I'm not going to have you going out there and just being with all the people and doing all the things. That's not what this is about. This month's challenge and the topic of this podcast episode today is for you to take back control of your social life and for you to be intentional about how you interact with others. I have really, really, really been on the struggle bus with this topic lately, the last month or so. I've been posting things online and asking people just various questions about things that have to do with this, and I've gone down a lot of rabbit holes having to do with this topic. One of the things I've been thinking a lot about is social media and how I use it, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about today because I know it's going to apply to you in some way. I've also been thinking a lot about all those like texts and phone calls and visits that I mean to do. So like texting people or calling people on the phone and actually having a conversation or actually getting in the car and going to visit someone. I say that I'm going to do that. I intend to do it. But 3 weeks later, I'm still saying, I should really text so-and-so, or I should really call so-and-so, or I should really visit so-and-so. And I'm still saying that I should do it, and I still haven't, right? So the way that we run a challenge in my group is that I don't really give you any rules, right? I give you the topic, and it's up to you to come up with your goal and the parameters around that. So when I posted this in our group and said, we're going to spend the month really, really focusing on our social activity or our relationships or how we are interacting with each other and whether or not that's intentional. And so that was kind of the topic, right? So some suggestions that I gave to people for maybe here's something that you're going to do that has to do with this topic. Maybe you decide for this month you're going to set a timer for social media. And not all of this has to do with social media, so don't think that that's all that I'm harping on. I'm going down a list here. So maybe you're going to say, you know what, I'm only going to be on social media a half hour, an hour, whatever a day, and I'm going to set a timer. And when I've met that, I'm going to not be on social media for the rest of the day. Maybe you are going to be really intentional about what you're doing on social media, and maybe you're going to pay attention to when you realize you're just scrolling. Maybe you get on social media to do something or to interact with someone or to do a specific something, and 10 minutes later you realize you're just scrolling. You're scrolling. Maybe for this month you decide, you know what, when I realize I'm just scrolling, I'm going to exit the app. I'm going to be done. I'm going to be like, nope, I'm just scrolling. Time to be done. Maybe you're going to take a look at all the pages or the groups or the people that you're following, And maybe you're going to really decide if you need to be involved with those pages or groups or people, and you're going to delete or unfollow the pages or groups or people that you really don't need to be involved with right now. Maybe you're just going to do that, right? Check that off your list. Maybe you're going to make a list of people that you've been meaning to visit, or you've been meaning to have lunch with, or you've been meaning to get coffee with, and you're going to make plans to try and connect with someone on that list this month. Maybe you're going to go through your address or your contacts in your phone, and you're going to send a text to someone different every day this month just to check in and find out how they are. Maybe you are going to host a really random, low-key, impromptu, all of a sudden gathering for family or friends or neighbors or coworkers to just hang out. Nothing that's a big deal. Just like, hey, we're going to get together tonight. You don't have to bring anything, or everybody bring a bag of chips or a bag of snacks, and we'll just all sit around the campfire and talk, and it'll be great. Nothing that's really a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you are going to decide you're going to send a card to someone you've been meaning to send a card to. Maybe you decide this month that when someone calls you on the phone, you're actually going to answer it. Some of you just had a panic attack, right? Or maybe this month, you're just going to pay attention to how much or how little other people are involved in your life, in a positive way, and you're going to decide whether that feels right to you, or if you want more or less, and how you can continue that or how you can change that. Maybe you're going to decide that this world that we live in, where you have access to everyone and everything all the time, isn't healthy for you. And you're going to figure out exactly where your boundaries are, and then you're going to stick to those. The point here is to figure out what part of your interactions with each other is just mindless, like mindless scrolling or mindless interaction. And we want to get rid of that, right? Or maybe we need to figure out, what are all those things that you say you want to do with other people? Get together, do this thing, have lunch, have coffee, go out after work, whatever. All those things you say you want to do, but you never do it. Okay? So that's where the intentional thing's going to come in. The challenge that I'm running is not necessarily about how you do it. It's that you're intentional that you do it. Okay? That's all this is. It's for you to dig into your own experience with this whole relationship thing and this interacting with others. You're going to dig into what that is for you, and you're going to deal with what that is for you. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. This is your challenge. Now, I said that most of my challenges come from, or most of the challenges I run, I should say, come from challenges I'm actually having. Things that I'm like, wow, I need to work on this, or wow, this is something that's really bugging me, or wow, I want to spend some time focusing on this. I have realized lately that working online or having a content creation business makes social media very messy and very tangled, and it turns into a huge rabbit hole. So that is one thing that I'm dealing with this month. The other part is that I really suck at making connections with people who are really important to me. And the intention is there, but the follow through just does not happen, right? And I know some of you are nodding right now because you're dealing with the same exact thing. And when you ask people why this is, we all say, oh, we're so busy, right? And we are busy. But tell me a time in life or in history when people have not been busy, right? Like, people have always been busy. People have always had a ton to do. It's looked different in different times, but people have always been busy. We're not special, right? So we've got stuff to deal with, stuff to look at this month. And here's something I will say. I want to be clear about this. I don't care how much you use the internet or social media. I don't care how little you use the internet or social media. I don't care how much you love people. I don't care how much you hate people. This is not a contest, okay? And sometimes it feels like when we get into conversations about this, it turns into a contest. People want to talk about how much they hate people. Oh my God, I just hate people. I hate being around people. I hate going out and dealing with people. Or I'm never on the internet. I'm never on the internet at all. Y'all, you're talking to me on the internet. You're on the internet, right? Don't tell me you're not on the internet. And it just becomes this whole contest, right? This is not a contest. I don't care how much or how little you use it. That's not what this is about. What I care is that you are being intentional about the way you want to interact with each other, okay? About the way you want to be social, whatever that is. I care that it works for what you're doing. I care that it's not just mindless, and that if it is something you intend to do, you follow through with it. Because what we're missing out on is people and relationships, okay? When we screw this up, we're missing out on people. And people don't last forever, right? So there's two parts of this whole thing. The first part is social media. The second part is kind of the in-person thing. So let me just babble and vent for a bit about some things that I have figured out and that I'm kind of trying to work through as far as this goes. Been talking with a lot of people about why social media is difficult. Why does it not feel fulfilling? Why are some places they feel different or they feel more social or more relational than other platforms? You know, what is that all about? I've asked a lot of questions online about this and got a lot of feedback. What I am finding, social media has obviously changed. You know, I think I got on Facebook maybe in, 2009, 2011. I don't remember when it was, but it's been a minute, right? And social media has changed. Facebook has changed. What I'm finding is that when social media got tied up in advertising and marketing and a place that you could sell your stuff, it became a completely different thing. And I want to be clear. Being able to sell your stuff or tell people about your event or any of that stuff, it's not a bad thing, okay? Social media is where people go to tell you what they're starting, what they're selling, what new thing is opening in town, what event they want you to go to with them. Because the reality is most people aren't advertising in the paper anymore. Right? Most people are not putting up flyers at the grocery store anymore. If you want people to find out what you're doing, you go where the people are, right? That's basic marketing. That's marketing 101. So where are the people now? They're on social media. The majority of the people that we want to reach, the easiest way to reach them is social media, Facebook, right? So to pretend that Facebook and other large-scale social medias don't serve an amazing purpose and bring people together in some way is silly. So Facebook, I won't even say social media, I'll say Facebook. Facebook is how I know that my friend who has a lemonade stand, Facebook is how I know where she's going to be next, where she's going to have her little lemonade stand. Okay, it's actually a food truck, and it's amazing lemonade. Shout out to the Timeless Trough. It's amazing, amazing lemonade local. Facebook is how I know when my favorite local bands are going to play. It's how I find out about local fundraisers and church bazaars and movies in the park and if the hours have changed at the coffee shop or the farmer's market or what's going on for volunteers at the food shelf or what new knife or salve or oil or plant or whatever my friends have for sale now. That's how I find out is on Facebook, right? But knowing this and being honest about this and accepting things for what they are means I've had to change how I approach different social medias. To me, the bigger social medias, like Facebook, and I would say anything that allows advertising or that you can make money by posting on, so those kind of social medias, here's how I've started to think about them. Those, like Facebook and those, are kind of like this summer festival that you tell your friend you want to meet her at, and you're going to go there and you're going to hang out, you're going to catch up, you're going to talk, you're going to have a great time, but while you're talking, you're surrounded by food trucks and vendors and stages where all these artists are performing. That's kind of what Facebook is, right? The smaller platforms, So for me, that would be, let's see, Discord and Telegram, I would say, are my smaller platforms that I'm on. They're more like a campfire with your friends. You're sitting around the campfire having a conversation, right? Nobody's really selling anything. There's no advertisements messing with what you're trying to do. There's not 50,000 different people screaming about, the cool thing they're doing. It's just like a little campfire with your friends. Okay? So Facebook is like the summer festival. I will say Telegram or Discord. I have groups on both of those. Links in the show notes if you want to join. The smaller platforms, like Telegram and Discord, are like the campfire. So don't blame a summer festival for being a summer festival. And don't try to make the campfire more than a campfire. It is what it is, right? We like to blame Facebook for being Facebook and doing Facebook things, but maybe the issue is us. And that we're expecting things to be something they're not. We're expecting platforms to behave in a way that doesn't even make sense for the platform. So part of my being intentional about being social this month is figuring out what platforms are for what and what to honestly expect from each platform. And that's a little tricky for me because I'm a content creator and I work online. So I have to figure that out so I don't make myself crazy. People get mad. Content creators will get really frustrated because we post something on Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, which are all really big platforms. And you're just waiting for the obnoxious comments to come in, right? I posted something about pulling cherries off my tree and just eating them as yard snacks the other day. And I had all these comments on one particular platform that were, aren't you going to wash those first? Oh my God, you didn't even wash those cherries before you ate them? Nope, I didn't. So we wait for the comments to come in that we know we're just going to start stuff or they're just going to be mean or obnoxious or whatever, right? But what do you expect? It's Facebook, it's TikTok, it's YouTube. There are more people. If you've got 10 people standing in your yard, that's one thing. If you get 1,000 people standing in your yard, I guarantee you there is a lot more, there's a way bigger chance that there's probably going to be an obnoxious jerk or 10 or 20 standing in your yard. If there's 1,000 people, right? It's a game of numbers. It's a game of probability. When things get bigger, you deal with more stuff. Don't hate the summer festival for being a summer festival. Don't get mad that your campfire isn't bigger, right? Figure out what is what. Let it be what it is. Be intentional about where and how you spend your time. I am not telling you stop using Facebook. You can stop using Facebook if you really want to. I really don't care. All I'm saying is understand why you're on Facebook and what you're getting from it and what you want to get from it, and then use it and then move on. If you look at the clock, if you're on Facebook and you look at the clock and you realize it's been 28 minutes and you're still scrolling and you have not engaged with anyone, and by that I mean nobody even knows you're on Facebook because you haven't pressed like, you haven't commented, you haven't posted anything. You're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. That is not being social. We call it social media, but that is not being social. That is using social media as entertainment. That is a substitute for TV or Netflix. And if you want to use Facebook to mindlessly scroll and you want to use it for entertainment, that's absolutely fine. Do it. I don't care. But don't get mad that it's been 28 minutes and you haven't done anything but mindlessly scroll. Or you're mad that nobody's talking to you when you haven't talked to anybody else. You guys, you are in charge of this. Be intentional about how you interact with people. Be intentional about how you want to be social. Stop acting like all the social medias are the bad guy and you're just a pawn. You guys, stop. Use the platform for what it makes sense for you to use it for and be intentional about it. Why are you getting mad at Facebook as a platform? Why are we getting mad at TikTok as a platform? Why are we getting mad at YouTube as a platform? You realize you can stop using them, right? I mean, if they are that terrible and that corrupt and that stupid and that whatever, you realize you can stop using them, right? You can stop. And when I have told people that, I hear back, well, but then I won't know what's going on with my family. All right, well, I guess you have to choose what's more important. Being nuts about Facebook or not hearing what's going on with your family, or find a different platform. I don't know. People have said, I have to be on YouTube because where else am I going to find a place where I can watch videos to learn how to do whatever? I've had people say, I have to be on this social media platform. Where else am I going to post my super hilarious commentaries to the debate? Like, you guys, I am not here to tell you how to use any social media site. I'm telling you to figure out what you want as a social experience and then move forward accordingly. You need to get honest about what you're using it for. That is the biggest thing. Figure out what you're using it for and be honest about that. And then figure out how you want to proceed. And then be intentional about how you proceed. Oh, Amy's getting fired up. It is way too warm for me to be getting this fired up. All right, the flip side of this, that was a little rant about social media. Just some things to think about, right? Just some things. The flip side of this, or the second part of this, is the in-person stuff, right? Getting together in person. And this got really clear for me. I should say I kind of thought about it a little bit differently because I had posted a question the other day on various social media platforms about why is it that we don't get together more often in person? And a couple people on different places that I had posted this pointed out we find out everything we need to know about our family and friends online. I don't have to go to the family picnic anymore to get an update on Johnny or Susie because it's all on Facebook already. We used to get together with family and friends to hang out and catch up and get updates, find out what's going on with you and, all that awesome bonding that we do, right? It's all on Facebook now. I had somebody tell me the reason they don't go to class reunions is because all the people that they want to talk to from high school, they already talk to on Facebook. They don't need to go, for whatever their class reunion is. They don't need to go to that to find out all the stuff they already know. Right? So it was really interesting because it seems like that explanation should be obvious, but I really didn't think about it until people were bringing it up on this topic that I had started. So there's that. That was one of the things people said. This is why I think we don't get together as much anymore because we're all talking online on Facebook or wherever you're talking. And it's more convenient to do that, right? The other reason that came up a lot is I'm so busy. I'm just too busy. Y'all. If you are saying that you are too busy, I really want you to dig into it. I really want you to dig into that. And I'm not picking on you because I have absolutely done this as well, right? Oh, I'm too busy. We're all so busy. But can we be honest for a minute? I really don't think that we are special or that we are any busier than our parents were or our grandparents were or our great-grandparents were. And if you really think that you are, and maybe you are, I don't know your story, but if you really think that you are, I really want you to dig into that. Do not make a blanket poor me statement. Especially since there's a lot of people that would argue that in some ways we actually have it easier now. Because we got all the technology and we got all the modern stuff to do the stuff that couldn't be done before. It's faster to do this stuff now because we have all these different options, and yet we're busier now. Or we feel we're busier now, or maybe we are. What? That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But anyway, okay, so I'm so busy. We already talk online. It's more convenient to talk online because I'm so busy, whatever. So where did the in-person get-togethers go? I did a couple episodes on this exact topic a year ago, a couple years ago. I don't remember. I should have looked up the number of the episode before I started this. But along that whole thing, my family brought back our ladies' lunch. Okay, used to get together with extended family members 4 times a year. We'd get together for lunch. We'd hang out for a few hours. We'd catch up. And so after I did those episodes and really got back into this, I was like, oh, we got to bring this ladies' lunch back. And we did. We got together a few times, and then it died off again. And we keep talking about bringing it back, but trying to find a day that works for most people to attend can be a real struggle. Honestly, it's a real struggle. And do you know why? Let's not make this complicated, you guys. A lot of it is a simple math thing. There's other things to it, but can we just talk about the math thing first? As families grow, either because they are multiplied, because of people getting married and having babies, or because they are divided, mom and dad get divorced, and now we have 2 Christmases instead of 1, and 2 Easters instead of 1, and 2 Thanksgivings instead of 1, right? Things get harder. I think about, yay, it was so fun to hang out with my cousins, right? We all think about that. Back in the day, oh, it was so fun. We got together with all the people. And when I think about that now, I think now those cousins are married with kids, and some have grandkids, right? And in a room that maybe used to be 4 girl cousins hanging out, now that would be 4 girl cousins, 4 husbands, a bunch of kids, their kids' significant others, their kids, right? And everybody's got another side of the family. As soon as you join 2 families, you're adding another side of the family. It's a math thing. Families expand, but the calendar doesn't. There are still 365 days in a year, and yet we've multiplied the families. Now it's not just my family, it's his family and their family and new friends and their families and our kids' significant others and their families and the other sides of those families. And we have to stop feeling bad about it. Okay? It's math. Stop feeling bad about it. But having said that, we also need to not just throw our hands up and be like, okay, everything's stupid and nobody cares about family anymore, because I don't think that's the case. I think we're trying to figure out how to make family stuff happen and make relationships flourish. And we feel bad most of the time because it doesn't look like it used to. But you guys, I don't know if it can. We're all just trying to figure out what the new thing looks like. And instead of pretending that we can have years of get-togethers that look like something that happened back in the 1950s, maybe we should just really commit to figuring out what get-togethers look like in 2024 and work with that and concentrate on that and dive into that and be okay with that and appreciate whatever that is. I think at the end of the day, this is all about being intentional about how you interact with other people. Intentional. It takes thinking about it. It takes focus. It takes commitment. If you want to dig into this for the next few weeks, you can absolutely do this on your own, but if you want to do it as a group, head over to the Get By Guys and Gals group on Facebook. You can find the link in the show notes, or just look for the Get By Guys and Gals group on Facebook and head over there and join up and join the conversation that we're having over there and all the realizations people are having and making. Because in order to be intentional about what you're doing, you have to know what you're already doing and whether it's working or not. And only then can you figure out what you want to change and what you want to continue, and then work on being intentional about those things. So you're going to need to spend some time thinking about what you're already doing and if that's working, and what you like and what you don't like, and what frustrates you and what you want more of. You got to figure that all out first before you can work on how to do it and then be intentional about it. This is not about increasing your social battery. This is not anti-introvert. This is not about you emailing me and telling me you hate people because everyone is mean to you and no one understands you, so you don't need to do jack about being social. That's not what this is. This is about you deciding what you want your social experience to be. This is about you deciding what you want your interactions with other people to be, whether that's online or in person, because both are part of the package nowadays. You can't get around that. If you're listening to this, you're online somehow, right? It's part of the package. Regardless of how much it is part of the package, it's part of the package, right? This is about you. Maybe it's about you reconnecting with your mom or your dad or your sister or your brother. Maybe it's getting together with your grandparents once a month, if your grandparents are still around. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but you have to dig into it. You have to figure out what you want relationships to be, because this is about relationships. It's about interacting with others, and it's about people. Because you know what? People are only around so long, and you don't know how long they're going to be around. So figure this shit out now. Thank you so much for listening to this little bit longer episode of mine. I hope that I gave you something to think about. If you want to join up with our group, the Get By Guys and Gals group on Facebook, you can find the link for that in the show notes. Would love to have you join up and have some conversations. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. But I encourage you to think about this stuff and to be intentional about it. I do have some other places that I hang out. I have a Discord group and I have a Telegram group. Lots of great conversation in there. Different kinds of conversation than you're going to find on Facebook. So if that is something you are craving, you will find the links for that as well in the show notes. Otherwise, just drop me a line, amy@afarmishkindoflife.com, and we will get you figured out where you need to be. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope that I've given you some things to think about. Have a great week, you guys, and I will talk to you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the show today. To continue the conversation, visit our website at afarmishkindoflife.com. Find A Farmish Kind of Life on social media or drop me an email at amy@afarmishkindoflife.com. Peace, love, and bacon, y'all. Stay farmish.